Okay, you see it literally everywhere, right? On your phone, all over the news, in every conversation about the future of, well, pretty much everything. But when we all talk about AI, what are we actually talking about? It seems like it should be a simple question, but trust me, the answer is way more surprising than you think. So let's break it down.
So on the surface, this is super simple. AI stands for artificial intelligence. Okay, done. Explainer over, right? Well, not quite. Because that literal answer, it completely misses the whole point. The real question isn't what the letters stand for, it's what do people mean when they say AI. And this is exactly where all the confusion kicks in. I mean, you can listen to two experts talk about AI, and you would swear they're on completely different planets. And you know what? In a way, they are. They're using the exact same two letters to describe totally different ideas.
See, the problem is that AI isn't just one single thing. It's really a label that gets slapped on at least three very different concepts. But once you can spot which of the three someone is actually talking about, all that confusion just melts away. So let's meet the three faces of AI.
First up, you've got the grand scientific vision. AI as a field of academic study. You know, think university labs, research papers, the big picture stuff. This is that long-term quest to see if we can build machines that can perceive, learn, and reason. It's the foundational, decades-long pursuit of machine intelligence.
Second, there's AI as a toolbox. So if the first one is the big dream, this is the nuts and bolts reality of how it actually gets built today. It's the collection of specific techniques, you've probably heard of things like machine learning or computer vision, that engineers use to solve real-world problems. This is what most people in tech mean when they say they work in AI.
And third, well, there's AI as a marketing buzzword. This is when the letters AI get slapped on a product just to make it sound futuristic and smart, even if what's really under the hood is just some clever, old-school automation. This is the marketing hype that makes the whole topic feel way more confusing than it actually needs to be.
All right, so keeping those three different meanings in mind, how in the world can we come up with a single definition that actually works for us? Let's try to move beyond the buzzwords and just focus on what these systems really do.
You know, this definition from the OECD is honestly one of the best I've seen. Notice what it doesn't say. It doesn't mention a brain or thinking. It's all about a system that takes stuff in, produces stuff out, and affects an environment. It's simple, it's practical, and it gets rid of all that sci-fi baggage.
Let's break that down even more. Really, you can just think of it as a simple three-step process. First, inputs go in. That could be text you type, an image, your clicks, whatever. Second, a model, which has been trained on a ton of data, processes those inputs and looks for patterns. And third, an output comes out. Maybe a prediction, a recommendation, or even a brand new image. That's the core loop, right there. Okay, to get even clearer, we need to tackle two of the biggest mix-ups that come up in pretty much any conversation about AI. Seriously, if you understand these two distinctions, you'll be able to cut through 90% of the noise out there.
So the best way to think about this is with a really simple metaphor. Just picture AI as a big umbrella. It's the entire field, the whole concept of creating intelligent machines. Everything else we're going to talk about fits right underneath it.
So, right under that big AI umbrella, you're going to find machine learning. Now, they are not the same thing. Machine learning is the most common tool we use today to achieve AI. Instead of a programmer writing out tons of explicit rules, machine learning lets a system learn patterns directly from data. Just about all the AI you hear about today, it's powered by this one technique.
The next big distinction you got to know is narrow AI versus general AI. Now, almost everything you interact with day in and day out is narrow AI. It's designed for one super specific task, like translating a sentence or spotting fraud. General AI, or AGI, that's the sci-fi version, a machine that can do any intellectual task a human can. That's the stuff of movies and late-night philosophical debates. It is not what's running your music playlist.
So with all this hype, it's no surprise that some pretty big myths have popped up. Let's do a quick rapid-fire round and bust a few of the most common ones.
Okay, the biggest myth by far is that AI thinks like a human. It doesn't, not even close. Most of today's AI is much more like a super-powered pattern-matching machine. It can find connections in data at a scale we can't even comprehend, but it doesn't have consciousness or feelings or genuine understanding.
Next up, this idea that AI is always objective because it's just math. Oh man, this is a huge misunderstanding. An AI system is only as good as the data it learns from. So if the data it's trained on is biased or incomplete, guess what? Its results are going to be biased and incomplete too.
It is the classic case of garbage in, garbage out.
And finally, this idea that AI is always a physical robot. Nope. More often than not, AI is just software running on a server in a data center somewhere. No arms, no legs, and thankfully, no glowing red eyes.
So, how can you use all of this to cut through the noise in your own life? I want to equip you with a simple sniff test, a few questions to help you evaluate any product or tool that claims it's powered by AI.
Anytime you hear some big claim about AI, just ask yourself these few simple things. 1. What specifically is this tool supposed to do? 2. What data is it learning from? 3. How do we even know if it's any good? And maybe the most important question of all, where does it fail? Because listen, if someone tells you their AI never fails, that is a giant red flag. That's your sign it's all hype. Every single one of these systems has limitations.
You know, maybe the best way to think about AI right now is this. It's like a really eager intern who has superhuman pattern recognition, but zero common sense about how the world actually works. It can process information at a mind-boggling speed, but it just lacks all the context and wisdom that we take for granted. It's an incredibly powerful tool that could be absolutely brilliant one second and then completely nonsensical the next.
Okay, we have covered a lot of ground here. So let's boil it all down to the absolute most important points you should take away from all this.
Here is your cheat sheet. AI stands for artificial intelligence, but in practice, what it usually means is software that recognizes patterns, makes predictions, or generates content. Remember that AI is the big, broad umbrella, and machine learning is a key technique that lives under it. And most importantly, your superpower is to always cut through the hype and just ask, what does this thing actually do?
So at the end of the day, what does AI stand for is kind of the wrong question. The right question is, what should AI do for us? It's a tool, and its real potential is all about how we choose to apply it. So the important question we're left with is, what are the problems we want it to solve next? Because that's what really matters.